Medieval Dynasty is one of the best survival/village simulators out there, yet there are still some things and issues you absolutely must know before buying it in 2025. Is it even still the best Dynasty game? Let's take a look, and don't forget to like and subscribe, or my goblins will steal all of your toilet paper. The game has two modes, one just for you and one for your friends to enjoy. In the first one, you start out as a young man driven from his home because war is raging on. You travel to the lands of your uncle, a rich, beautiful land full of rivers, forests, and most important, opportunity. Here is where you will go from having nothing but a few supplies to a thriving community and more. Combat is scarce and there's a bigger chance of you dying from a tree cutting accident than dying from being killed by a person. This actually ties in very well with the question I have for everyone you can answer in the comments. What do you expect from games like Medieval Dynasty? Is it excitement or maybe more of a game which calms your nerves? Do tell! As you are thrown in this unknown world, all you have is a few supplies and permission to build wherever you wish. The game starts out more as a survival game, but very quickly throws in some RPG and simulation elements, such as building your first house, only to later realize you don't really want your village here and then relocate a bit later because you simply have to have your house on a little island slightly away from everyone else. You know, for status. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, you'll need to do everything on your own. Build a house, tools and weapons so you can hunt for food and resources. You'll need a water skin so you don't die of thirst while exploring the land, and you'll need a good bow to hunt moose or even bigger game which attacks you on sight. Don't worry about sleep though, our character does not need to sleep. As you do all of this, you'll be then ready to invite your first villager to the settlement and get them to work. Of course, there will have to be enough food, water and firewood for them to stay, but slowly and surely, signs of your own community will be there. Not long after, your village will be better than the ones you visit when you go to sell surplus of your hard work. This sounds great, and it is, but here's the thing. Medieval Dynasty isn't for everyone. The process to get from you having nothing to you having a family and automated village is a long one, filled with challenges. This isn't a game for people who don't have patience or people who want to fight their way to success. In fact, there's very little combat in this game. Aside from some animals which attack on sight, there's very small sample of bandit camps which, to be fair, are rewarding, but are very small in number. In fact, even the story, which I'll cover later, doesn't feature any combat at all. This is a game for people who thrive while building their dream village in peace without any bandit raids or something similar. Trees in general are a bigger threat than people. The charm of Medieval Dynasty lies in its immersion and the want to have more. Bigger village, more farms, the ability to name your village and get your family crest, and similar challenges is what players who want to buy this game should expect. Yes, the tasks are repetitive but also extremely rewarding, and almost no combat doesn't mean there's absolutely no challenge in the game. Quite the opposite. It's on you to make sure your people don't starve and that your people are happy. And it's a big ask because winter demands a lot of firewood and people need to eat and drink. Not only that, but they'll marry and have children, meaning the women who just gave birth are practically lost for 2 years. They stay at home and you'll be short a worker. Ah yes, the joy of seeing 3 couples having a baby in one season. But also, you won't be in the village all the time. You'll want to explore, find caves so you can build a mine, find treasures and try not to be mauled by a bear or stomped by a Wycent while taking in absolutely amazing visuals. But if you are looking for an immersive story and narrative, then you won't find it here. plain and simple. There is a story, but it's not exactly enticing, and I'll say it, the ending to the story is very, very predictable. In Medieval Dynasty, you create your own story for yourself. Let me give you an example. One day I decided my village doesn't look nice, and this of course causes my people not to be cult-like happy. So I traveled to gather resources and spent a whole day painting and decorating houses. In the end, each house had a unique coat of paint and some nice flowers under the windows. But then, I saw it. Right in front of my eyes, I just didn't notice it before. A small island, just a small bridge away. I built a said bridge and built my home there. Why? I don't know, because it felt right. Maybe you'll decide to go on your own adventure, hunt for the day and be waylaid by wolves while going back at night and barely make it home. All of this is on you, the player. In the single player map, this feels a bit off. It feels a bit off that we can't make friends with anyone, and speaking to our villagers doesn't offer anything more than some insights. Unless they need something from you, then you do the task and it's back to normal. Even your spouse, if you decide to have one, has very limited conversation option, as does your heir later on. This is probably the weakest link of Medieval Dynasty, because right now it feels like you aren't part of the community you've built. I see my people sitting around the campfire I built, and honestly, I feel a bit left out of whatever they're talking about there. Even my spouse is there, being perfectly okay with ignoring me. So, just like real life. Maybe she married me just for the coin. So if strong narrative is a must-have for you, then this game is not gonna cut it. If you like stunning visuals, however, then yes, you'll feel right at home. Medieval Dynasty looks absolutely amazing. The map is crafted with great care, from forests to clearings and riverbanks. Every aspect of the game looks absolutely amazing. The changing seasons add even more to that, because the land changes according to the season you're in. Lush springs, leaves changing color and falling in autumn, and of course, white cold lands in winter. Although in winter, you can build a snowman if you wish so, and throw snowballs at your spouse. Going back to visuals though, you can build what is probably the best looking village you ever saw in games if you try just a little bit. Buildings look great, and with the latest addition of painting and patterns, they look even better. There is a special feeling when you're coming back from an adventure and see your village in the distance. It feels like you're coming home. And sometimes you'll just want to stand on top of the mountains and observe animals in the forest doing their thing in this absolutely gorgeous looking land. Well, before hunting them, because you really do need the leather. But how hard is the game really? While the default settings don't make the game exactly the easiest game ever, I can assure you, you'll make it. Yes, there is very little hand-holding and surviving isn't a walk in the park, but it kind of can be, because there are so many settings you can change to cater to your style of gameplay. Are you annoyed by stamina draining? Turn it off. Do you not want to spend a real-life amount of time to craft a few spoons? Turn on fast crafting so you don't have to starve to death while making a bundle of food. There's a setting for almost everything, and you can change everything on the fly in-game. So while you can make the game challenging for yourself, if you're someone who likes to build in peace and not worry about every aspect of the game, you're most welcome to do so.
Isn't it weird that only women bleed once a month while no animals do?
Let's take a look at music and sound. While there is no voice acting for dialogue, the sound isn't lacking. There's a lot of one-liners and references to other games. For example, I heard one dude saying he knew someone who always went on about how the wind is howling while there wasn't even a slight breeze, or a kid yelling Kamehameha, and so on. I once caught my villager, who was a market vendor, yell, "Only today, 1 for the price of 2, and thought to myself, What a great strategy! The sounds of nature are absolutely on point, from rabbits running from you to birds and ambient sound, it's almost perfect. The forest and forest atmosphere are second only to Kingdom Come Deliverance series. The music is also on the highest of levels, not too intrusive, and the soundtrack is really good, and sometimes a track will come on which you will find yourself humming later on in the store, and the people will look at you like you've just escaped from an asylum. It happens, you know. Music really is that good, and it differs from where you are. Villages have their own music tracks, while the wilds have another, and the combat soundtrack, that one is very similar to a certain Witcher 3 soundtrack. Well, here we are. Final verdict. Is Medieval Dynasty worth buying in 2025? Absolutely yes. It is the best one in the Dynasty series, and if you're not looking for a lot of combat, I'd recommend Medieval Dynasty before Bellwright 2. I just can't forget the awful AI voice in Bellwright, sorry guys. But also, is there a case to make for not buying Medieval Dynasty? Well, yes, there is. If you like strong narrative, a lot of bandits and combat, and well, excitement over the calmness, then Medieval Dynasty won't make a good game for you. Not because it's not good, the game is amazing, but because it won't give you what you want. Sengoku Dynasty has more combat, so it may be better for you, but even then I think Bellwright wins out. If, however, you just want to explore beautiful lands, build the best possible village without concerning yourself about your people being murdered and the village burnt down, then Medieval Dynasty is absolutely, without a question, the best game of its kind right now. Yes, better than newer Dynasty games, and especially better than Wild West Dynasty. I don't think anyone knows what they were thinking while making Wild West Dynasty. The issues with Medieval Dynasty aren't in performance, it being boring, or anything like that. The only deciding factor in buying Medieval Dynasty is what you want from it. With that said, I'd recommend Medieval Dynasty to anyone looking for a blend of RPG, simulation, and survival game. And also, it is still being supported with new content to this day and will be in the future. But what do you think? Comment down below, and don't forget, subscribe or your toilet paper is gone. Until next time, Goblin out. Bye.